Victoria, what is going on right now? What?
What's
Where are we?
happening?
Where are we? What is happening? What is the Craig Kenneth show?
You're about to find out.
So, we're excited to announce that we are going to start a new YouTube channel and a new show, The Craig Kenneth Show. And this is going to be a caller driven show where we are going to be talking about a lot of different topics, mental health. We're going to be talking about dating, relationships, and any other problems or issues that you have going on in your life. So each episode, we're going to have callers call up. You can have an opportunity to be on the show and talk about something that is going on in your life that you can talk to us about.
Right.
As you may or may not know, we are two therapists and have been doing this for a while. So we're not two Joe Schmoes off the street. That's the podcast next door.
We have both educational background and experience in working with mental health in the community. So we're hoping that our perspectives can help in different kind of stories, and we're excited to see what we'll hear.
Yeah, this is going to be a little bit more laid back of a show than what you're typically used to seeing. But we really think you guys are going to enjoy seeing a different side of us, where we can also talk about interesting dating or relationship studies that we're seeing, or interesting news articles, on top of having callers.
Right.
So today's caller, our first caller, has a really interesting situation. He has had an ex-girlfriend from years ago reaching out to him. The issue is that she is now pregnant by another guy. And because they have such a strong connection or have had a strong bond over the years, he's not too sure how he's feeling about this.
We're going to talk this situation through with him and just give him some of our perspectives here, talking about some sensitive topics. So, important stuff.
All right, let's get him on the line. All right, so our first caller today is Damon.
Okay.
And he's in his late 20s, and he's going through a really interesting situation right now that's got him kind of surprised and perplexed.
Surprised and perplexed.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here.
Okay, let's talk about it.
So what's going on, Damon?
Well, in short, my ex, who I had a long relationship with for 6 years, has started contacting me again after 3 years. Well, she never really stopped contacting me, but the twist is that she's pregnant from another man. And well, the thing is, children was pretty much the reason for our breakup. So it's quite a lot to take in, and it's pretty confusing regarding the subject of children.
Okay, so you were dating this previous ex for about 6 years, and the main reason that you guys broke up was because children, in what sense?
Well, there's an age difference of 4 years.
Okay.
She was older than me,
Okay.
and
Do you want
she
those
had
babies?
she had established her career a bit earlier than I did, and we were still like in our early 20s when we started dating. And but then she reached a point where she wanted children like sooner than I felt ready for, because I was still building my business and it was taking a long time. So
Sure.
there was a lot of frustration about both of our ideas not going in the same direction.
So yeah, you must have been in your like early to mid 20s at that point, right?
Yeah, mid-20s, yeah.
She was in her late 20s, early 30s
Yeah.
at that point.
Yeah, yeah. So a lot of her friends were starting to getting children and everything. Yeah, I mean, everything around her was suggesting taking that next step.
Yep. Now, I actually dated somebody years ago that was really wanting to get married and have kids also, and so I felt that pressure. But I was also just still in grad school and I wasn't ready for that stuff. So it led to a lot of arguments, and that was probably the main argument at that point. Is that what happened with you guys? Anything similar?
Yes, actually, yes, but at a certain point, we started that's when it really got bad, I'd say, is when we started not having the conversation, both knowing we wanted different things. And I think us both realizing that was the case. So we were kind of starting to avoid the conversation. Yeah.
And it seems like it's an issue of timing. You know, there's few times in a relationship where that age gap will become more and more apparent, right? In mid 20s, with somebody who's in their early 30s, you know, especially if she's driven with these certain goals in mind, you know, that could be one of those instances where it can cause a problem. Now, were you of the mindset that you wanted to have kids one day? Was it more of a timing issue, or was it that you didn't want children? Well, more
Didn't
of a
want to
timing issue.
interrupt you. Yeah, it's more as in I knew I wanted children, and she even felt like a good person for me to have children with, but the timing was just not good at all. We were also renovating our house. I was building my business. There was a lot going on. Um, so yeah, I mean the timing was pretty bad.
And then the other thing that happens is the guilt. Like, because if he thinks, oh, this is somebody that I could have kids with, then he feels guilty about not giving her those kids or having that family with her, and knowing that, like, he's keeping her from something that she really wants.
Yeah,
I'm
that's what it
guessing.
felt like.
Yeah.
I felt like I was at a certain point. It became. I started getting really frustrated because I felt like I was wasting her time in a way,
Yeah.
and that didn't feel good at all. And that's pretty much when I said like, I don't think this is gonna work.
Yeah, that's tough. It is tough
Because
because
at a certain moment, and I didn't blame her or anything, but she gave me an ultimatum, which was really the moment where I knew like this isn't gonna work.
Yeah.
Because I knew like even because after she did so after a few days she said I shouldn't have done it, and but I knew like it's not gonna change. I'm not gonna want to have children in 3 weeks, and you're not gonna want to wait. I mean, yeah.
yeah, those things do happen, and I, like I said, I can relate to that. That happened when I was in my early 20s too. And you know, it just kind of feels like it's this elephant in the room where it's like we both know we want different things. I'm not going to give in to that because I'm not ready and it wouldn't be right for me. She's not going to change her mind. We're kind of at a situation where it's like we have to go separate ways, even though we both love each other and could see a future together.
And on the flip side, it must have been hard for her too, because she's thinking, well, do I risk ending this relationship and then having to start a new one and build that to the point where she feels comfortable having children with somebody else?
Yep.
You know, or does she see this through and someday hope for the timing to align? So it seemed like at a certain point she leaned more towards the option of it's more likely to find what I want out there to achieve my goal rather than staying in this relationship where there's a question mark on when this might happen. And there probably was a building disappointment that you weren't ready. And disappointment, resentment, you know, those things tend to build up.
Well, the thing is, though, I ended up deciding to end the relationship while she didn't want to take that step, at least yet. I feel like if we would have stayed in that phase of like well, not resentment, but like frustration, and it would have ended in some way sooner or later, I think, because we weren't really having the right conversations about it anymore, and yeah, it was turning a bit bitter at a certain moment.
Yeah, because you're kind of everybody's stuck. You know, we know this isn't going forward. You're angry at me because you want this thing. I feel guilty about it because I can't give you this thing. But then it's like it sounds like you finally decided you had to walk away. But maybe in the back of her mind, she always thought I was always hoping it would be with you. I was always hoping that I would have kids with you.
Well, that's what she said at the moment of the breakup. Um, yeah, I mean, it was a tough time. There was a lot of guilt, definitely. Um, but I mean, she accepted it, and we talked after it, like many times after it. I never, if she wanted to talk, I'd say let's do it.
Yeah.
But also in a way, it wasn't really helping because I was reinforcing the fact that I didn't think it was a good idea, and she was kind of still trying to pursue and repair it. So yeah,
Yeah.
So then you guys that breakup was how long ago?
3.5 years ago.
Wow. Because you had dated somebody else in between them. And then what happened? She started coming back around again after this most recent breakup that you had?
Well, to be honest, she never really stopped contacting me
Uh-huh.
during all of those years.
Wow.
And I mean, she wasn't very subtle about it. I mean, she would come pick up her stuff, but she would never take everything. She would simply invite me to go have dinner or
Yeah.
to her apartment. I mean, it was pretty
She's
obvious. There was nothing to try to decode or anything.
she's dropping off eggs at your house. Would you like some eggs? I brought you some fresh eggs.
I mean,
From
pretty
my own house.
much, pretty much.
Yeah, that's tough because she doesn't really want to let go or move
Yeah.
on. But then
No,
I guess
and sorry, yeah, go on. Well, I felt bad every time she reached out because I felt like every time I need to disappoint you again. Because I was trying to stay, I didn't want to like tell her to leave me alone. I didn't want to be cold or anything, but I also didn't want to like give her any hope. So I never reached out to her. Um, yeah, it was frustrating.
yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
So it sounds like recently she's kind of she's dating someone new. I'm assuming.
Hmm.
What's going on with her now?
So
Because this is where it's going to get real complicated, huh?
yeah, this is when it's gonna get complicated. About a year ago, I heard through my sister that she had started seeing someone.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I didn't really know anything. I mean, my sister didn't know much either. Because they're good friends. That's what I forgot to say. But anyways, time moves on, and I mean, of course, the idea of her dating another man was strange in my mind.
Sure.
Yeah.
Dated for 6 years. She had been contacting me for all those years, so it, of course, it had an impact in some way. Um, and I think, like you say in your videos, like as long as she reached out, I didn't feel like she really left in a way.
Yeah.
So I felt like I never really felt all of the breakup until that point. Um,
Yeah. So what did you hear? What did you find out, or what did she tell you herself?
well, not much. I mean, I didn't hear anything, to be honest, apart from the fact that she was dating. She still sent me a happy birthday. She still sent me a message for our dog's birthday. So
The dog's birthday. Jeez.
yeah, the dog.
Does the dog want eggs? I'm bringing eggs over. Wow. Okay. So yeah, yeah, if you're reaching out for the dog's birthday, you gotta you're looking for reasons to contact somebody because you really miss them or care about them.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, and so time moves on, and I'm still kind of I don't know. I still don't really know how I feel about everything. Um, Let me think. What happened in between? Did I miss something?
I have a bit of a question. So, did she know that you were dating somebody new while she was reaching out to you?
No, I wasn't dating anyone at that moment.
Okay.
I dated someone fairly shortly, so I don't. I also never talked to her about it, so I don't really know what she knew or yeah.
Okay. And it
But
sounds
I only dated for a short time in between.
Okay. And on her end, then she started dating someone new and she was still reaching out to you the happy birthdays, the happy birthday to the dog.
Yeah.
Did it go
And the
further
fresh
than
eggs.
that? And the eggs. Did it seem like she was trying to continue a conversation?
Well, she was asking me how I was doing and everything, but the thing is, I knew she was seeing someone, so I thought I'm not gonna like start having a conversation. That felt a bit weird. So no, the conversation didn't really go anywhere. Um, I think I don't think I heard from her for a while at that after that, but then after like 5 months or so, I started really feeling like this is really bothering me in some way. I don't know. I feel like I was kind of finally reaching the point of like, okay, this is how it feels of her really being gone.
Yeah.
Um, and it hit me quite hard. And at a certain moment, even though I heard that she was dating someone half a year before, I didn't really know where it was now. So I thought, I never reached out in all of those years, so I'm gonna reach out for once, even if she says no. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's selfish. But I felt like I wanted to give it one go. So I reached out to her and asked her if she wanna get together and have a talk. To which she replied like politely and friendly, but she did say like, no, I reached another point in my life. I don't want to do this anymore. So I just accepted it and I told her I respected that, and then I didn't hear from her for a while.
Okay.
And then fast forward 3 months later, our dog got a, how do you say, do you call it a tumor as well?
Uh-huh.
Like a cancerous tumor, um, and had to get surgery, and it wasn't really looking very good. So, well, it was still our dog that we got to get and everything. So I thought I'm gonna at least send her a message and keep her updated about it. And she was quite shocked and started sending me all kinds of messages, and she wanted to see him. Um, so I let her come over, and she did, and we talked for like 2.5 hours.
And how long ago was that?
That's 6 months ago. That was in
Okay.
January.
Okay, so she comes over, 2.5 hours. It's quite a visit.
And did she tell you
Yeah.
that she was dating somebody new at this point?
She dropped it like very subtly, but like we didn't really talk about it. We actually also we maybe talked about the dog for like 30 minutes, and then we
Yeah.
talked about pretty much our relationship for 2 hours.
Wow.
So it was quite a, it was very nice in a way because we both recognized what went wrong, and we were pretty, it was a pretty mature conversation. I was actually pretty happy we had the chance to do it. Um, and one thing that I also noticed is that she was still wearing the ring I gave her
Wow.
during our relationship.
Which finger was it on?
That's a good
Well, it's
question.
different. It's different in Belgium. We wear it on different fingers, so I don't think it would be, yeah, the same. But
So if you get caught, you say, I'm from Belgium.
no, but it's true. Actually, it's true. But
It is true.
anyways,
We're on the opposite hand too.
I mean, that was kind of, that boggled me a bit. I was like, why? How is she still wearing that ring?
Yeah, because she's dating somebody else.
Yeah.
But then there was a.
Or every day during the relationship, it
Wow.
was like the only piece of jewelry she always wore. So yeah, that was a bit strange.
But then there was a big bomb. How did that come? The big bomb, the big news.
Yes, so 1 month later, she sends me a message to tell me she's pregnant.
Wow.
And she was already pregnant whilst we met.
Wow.
So, I mean, that was kind of a shock. And
Yeah.
also to think that she had been dating the new guy for 6 months, which to me was
New.
equally as
Yeah.
shocking, to be honest. I was like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I think that's important information because it might have changed your decision on whether to meet up with her or not, right? Or how you
Sure.
would behave during that meeting. And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
because you got to consider this other guy, right?
Mhm.
Like you're thinking, like, wait a minute, you're serious with the other guy? You're pregnant? Did she know at the time when you met up, or maybe she hadn't known yet?
She might have known, but I know some people will kind of reserve telling others until
Yeah.
a certain time. But in this,
Yeah, I
instance-
think it's right about the, well, she knew at that time. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was kind of the, like you say, the bomb. Um,
How did she tell you? What did she say?
she sent me a message saying like she wanted me to know. I think she wanted to tell me personally and not me hearing it from others.
Yeah.
Because I think she knew it would have some impact on me hearing that news. So she wanted to tell me herself Um, yeah, I mean, she didn't say anything else really, just that she wanted me to know.
Okay.
But she worded it nicely, and it was, I mean, it was a nice message. But I was shocked, so I replied, um, very friendly reply, but internally I was like, I didn't get it. It was pretty weird.
Yeah, I mean, because when you think you're going to spend your life with somebody, it's
Mm-hmm.
still in your unconscious somewhere. There's
Yeah.
still that time in your unconscious where you were together and part of you still feels that way in a lot of ways. And then to see somebody now it's like, wow, now it really feels done,
Mm-hmm.
right? It
Yeah,
kind
and
of,
3 months earlier, I had contacted her, and then 1 month before, I had seen her wearing my ring, talking to her for 2 hours. So it was the complete opposite of, like, I mean, anything I expected.
but then she's done some really confusing behavior, right? And
Yeah,
this
there's
is
been
where it's
some. Yeah, she reached out multiple times since that. Um,
okay.
a few times about the dog. I sent her one message for her birthday. Um, and then another time, which was, I think, the maybe the weirdest one, is that she found like an old key for the gate of the house, and she sent me a message. I came by to drop you the key, but you weren't home.
That certainly sounds like an indirect direct to me.
Yeah.
By the way, I
Exactly,
used the
because
key. I came in the house. I hope you don't mind. I'm in your bed.
Well, this is confusing because now she's pregnant with another man's child. This is no
yeah,
longer somebody she's dating. This is the father of her future child here that we're talking about. And so
yeah,
the question that comes to my mind is how much of this does he know? Is she just experiencing like a nostalgia while she's in this other relationship? Maybe the commitment of about to have a child with somebody. Maybe there's some doubts and fears that creep up, and maybe she's reminiscing on your relationship, thinking how things might have been different.
yeah.
So these things can happen, and they're hard to talk with your partner about. I really am curious about what her conversations with her partner look like,
If any.
if any, if any.
Yeah, yeah.
That,
To be honest, I, she's a pretty, from my experience and dating her for 6 years, she's very transparent. She never really plays games, or like, if there's something wrong, she'll tell you. She was never the type of like, I don't know, making things unclear or anything. So I don't know. In a way, I kind of feel like maybe she did tell him, but I can't be sure. I mean, I don't know, because it's weird behavior to come by the house, and especially for key I have many spares of, and I really don't really need. Um,
Yeah.
And
yeah.
the other thing I'm thinking, I know time isn't necessarily a good measure of closeness of a relationship or even trust. You can know somebody for a very long time but not trust them at all. But the
Hmm.
two of you had many years under your belt. I mean, it
Yeah.
sounded like even
Oh,
talking about the
yeah.
dog, you shared that responsibility together. And
And
so
I, to be
now
honest,
this relationship is newer.
sorry, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, no, I just want to say that to be honest, I never had a relationship where I trusted someone so much as with her. So for me, like, trust, it was never an issue with her,
Mhm.
which is why it's even more confusing to see her do this kind of behavior. Um,
so, are you feeling like there might be an agenda here, that she's got some romantic interest, that, or maybe it's not going well with this new guy and she's kind of keeping you
well,
in the back of her mind? I mean, what's going on there?
well, there's actually one more part to the story, maybe before
Let's
we
hear
get
it.
to that. Um,
It builds.
it's again the dog, again the same problem. He gets a tumor again.
Right.
3 weeks ago. Same thing. We were very early and we removed everything, fortunately. Um, but that was in the same week as my birthday. So she sent me a message wishing me a happy birthday,
Okay.
asking me how I was doing and how the dog was doing. So, I mean, of course, I was going to have to explain everything. And same thing. She wanted to come over and see the dog. So she did. This
Okay.
time it wasn't 2.5 hours, it was 1.5 hours, but still. she was still wearing the ring, and
Hmm.
things were
Wow.
still as easy going as, I mean, whenever I see her, it's nice. I mean, we can have good conversations, and I don't know. Um,
So what is
yeah.
your feeling based on the last time you saw her and you talked? What was the feeling that you were getting? Is it just, I don't know, that she's somehow not let go of you and her? Do you think things aren't going well with this new guy? And
Well, she isn't really talking or showing any signs that the relationship is going well or bad. I mean, I cannot tell from her behavior. I mean, she doesn't really talk about it, so it's hard for me to tell. Um, Part of me is also thinking like she's taking a big step, having her first child. Maybe everything is brought back into perspective, and like for a long time she thought I would be the father, you know, and I think,
You're going to be the father one way or another.
I don't know. I don't know that.
yeah, I think in a way that still lingers in her mind. Also considering the fact that she never really stopped contacting me ever since our breakup. Um, to me, that says that there's still some connection and something that isn't completely lost in a way. Um, but I mean, it's hard for me to assume. I'm also trying to protect myself and not assume too many things because it's a tricky situation. I mean, she's still pregnant
yeah,
from another man.
How far along is she?
A month now.
Wow.
A month.
from
So
giving from giving
from
birth.
now,
She's going to give birth to the baby in a month.
yeah,
Wow.
Wow.
Okay, so she's like 8.5 months along or so,
yeah.
somewhere around there. Okay. Wow. Well, I mean, are you having feelings still? I mean, or are you just wanting I mean, what are you wanting to do?
Because
Well, to be honest, wanting to do is a tough question. I feel like at the moment I just mostly wanted to protect myself because even receiving her messages was like really confusing to me and kind of messed with my mind. And I felt like,
yeah,
in a way, I don't really want her to do this because it doesn't really help me move forward. Or, I mean, it makes things a bit more complicated.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I don't really know how I should position myself in this situation, to be honest.
But you don't have any romantic interest in her. Like if she says it's not working out with this other guy, is that something you want to explore or no, that's not something you're even thinking about?
Well, feeling wise, yes, but there's a rational part to it of me thinking like she'll have a baby from another man. And children is literally the reason why we broke up.
Mm-hmm.
which
So
is
it's a very loaded subject. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it's quite tough. I mean, of course, whenever I see her, I still feel like, wow, I really love spending time with her, and I feel really comfortable, and it feels really good. Um, I'd say that's maybe not enough to, if she went pregnant, start a relationship right, just right there. But I feel like there's still enough, I don't know, of that connection left somewhere, and it
yeah,
still impacts me a lot.
I think on some level she must be feeling some of that too.
Yeah.
Because why else would you, if you're pregnant with another guy this far along, why are you still reaching out to your ex? Does he even, this other guy, does he even know
Yeah.
about Damon? Does he even know that she's bringing her eggs over to his place?
And that's my big question about it. How do we balance this nostalgia, this you've been a significant figure in my life for 6 years? We have thought about having a child forever, and now that I have a child, I want to include you somehow because I want to honor our relationship. How do you balance that with having boundaries and realizing you've made the decision to have a child and start a family with someone else?
And this other guy, what does he know or not know? Imagine he knows none of
Oh.
this. Imagine he doesn't know that his pregnant girlfriend is going over to her ex's house and spending hours at a time.
Mhm.
Like, if you're that guy,
That's been my main question, to be honest. I'd really love to know in a way like what he does and doesn't know. Um,
I mean, I would be pretty upset if I had an ex that was, or a partner that was seeing their ex and they're pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, and especially they're hiding it. So I guess one of the things that you would want to ask her is, you know, what does your partner know about our relationship, or how often we talk? Do they, how are, I guess maybe the first thing I'd ask is, how are things going with your partner? Because if she says, well, we're rocky, this and that, okay, that's going to tell you a lot right there. And then if she says, oh, we're doing really good, and we're really excited about the baby, oh, okay, I'm happy to hear that. Does he know that you're reaching out to me, that you're coming over here? Because I don't want to do anything that's going to make him upset or uncomfortable.
Yeah. But
And
I
you're
feel
also,
like even if she would say everything is fine, then I'd still be like, but is that really true? I mean, why are you still contacting me? I mean, it's
I
I
think
don't
you could
know.
ask her. I think maybe you say, I'm a little confused as to how come you keep reaching out.
hmm and
Yeah.
this could be a good segue. I know I'm the boundary queen. I just harp on the boundaries, but it could be a good segue into talking about boundaries here. Because one thing that you've said a couple times is, you're thinking about how to protect yourself. It sounds like
Yeah.
this is really nostalgic for you too. And
Yeah.
so one thing that you have in mind is, how do I protect my space? It sounded like in the past, when the two of you broke up, you were the one to initiate. And so you had to uphold that boundary back then when you were saying, if this does not feel comfortable for me, this is not the right timing, I'm not prepared to have a child. So you set that boundary back then. And I wonder if
Yeah.
this is maybe part of a larger pattern here.
No, I mean, I think you're right. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, at this point, she's pretty close to giving birth,
Mm-hmm.
and so I would leave her alone.
I
You
don't
know
think
what?
she'll reach out for
Yeah,
now, to be honest. I don't
yeah,
think she will.
I was thinking she probably wouldn't right now either.
Mm-hmm.
But you certainly don't want to cause any unnecessary drama if there's none to be had.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to reach out and her ex is like, why is your ex contacting you? Oh, we spent 2.5 hours together the other day. So you don't want to cause any drama. I think you leave it alone for now and see what she does. She'll probably wait till after the birth of the baby, but who knows? You know?
Yeah.
But it's a tough situation because, you have to think about your feelings and you have to think about you as well. Obviously, you care about her as a person, so you don't want to be mean or hurtful. But at the same time, like, you also don't want to feel stuck having somebody that's in a new relationship with a new baby reaching out to you all the time, and you're sitting at home thinking, what does this mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also want to ask, in this crazy hypothetical, let's say she does say, things didn't work out with the father of her child, and now she wants to work things out with you. How would you be feeling about that kind of situation?
Well, I've been trying to think about it, but my own feeling about it is variable. I feel like I don't really know, to be honest. It's a double-sided question, I think, because I mean, I feel like there will be a lot of frustration in the fact that children was kind of our main issue, and now I'm taking care maybe of another man's child. It's pretty wild.
yeah.
Um,
And she could be angry
and
at you about that too. We're take now.
yeah,
I'm not with that guy anymore. I'm back with you. This could have been our baby together, and now we have to deal with this ex who maybe is not a good dad or whatever. We don't know.
We don't know.
yeah, but
But
I think the other side is that I I still very much have I still very much care in a way about her, and there's still some feelings uh, lingering. So there's kind of two opposite sides to this, which make it very hard to know I mean, response to that question. Um, I think either way it would take some time to figure it out.
yeah, I think that right now it's kind of one of those things where it's like
I also
to
don't
not.
want to. I also don't want to try and predict what's gonna happen. Maybe she doesn't contact me again.
Right.
I also need to protect myself from myself in
Mm-hmm.
a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think right now you just leave it alone and just see if she decides to do something and reaches out to you again. And then when she does, you just say, okay, you know, if she's had the baby, congratulations. I'm really happy for you, you know, and see if there's some kind of agenda for maybe why she called, and just say, oh, how are things going with you and the dad? It's really stressful having a new baby, and see if she opens up about, oh, we're not together, or we're doing great. I mean, I think that will give you some clues as to what her agenda might be with you.
Yeah. And I would also be thinking about the bigger picture here too. Um, I find that sometimes people, I would say, especially women, in what I've seen, after wanting their partner to have kids with them or to get married, after they leave that relationship, they can be very goal oriented and goal directed. And so sometimes they'll care more about kind of checking off that box than who it's with, right?
Yep.
I don't know if this is the case with her. Maybe she.
No, that's a very fair point.
Mhm.
I near the end of the relationship, when I feel there was a lot of pressure on the subject, I feel like she started to think like, I really want to have a baby. And
Mhm.
I sometimes did have that feeling, especially around the time where she gave me the ultimatum of like, she just wants a baby. Maybe because partly there was already starting to be some disconnect between us. I don't know, but sometimes it did feel like that. Yeah. Um, and sometimes I'm almost worried that's what she did with the new guy. It's
Mhm.
like, because she wanted children when we broke up, and then 3 years went by. So I'm sure she wanted children even more. I mean, 3 years later. So
Yeah.
Her checklist is Damon, baby. Okay. I'm going to get both of those check marks. Baby with someone else says he won't give me the baby, but then I'm going back to Damon.
Well, it's interesting because in today's day and age, women have a lot more control over their birth, if they decide to reproduce or not, than they did before.
Sure.
Just in terms of options and availability. Now you see people who are becoming single moms on purpose, women who have always wanted kids and they're not having to rely on a man anymore.
Yeah.
And so I feel like this whole environment is so different than it used to be. So it's interesting just the choices that women make at this point. I know it's not the same everywhere in the world, and there's things that can be dicey with all of that, but it makes me wonder, if there were other options available, what she would choose.
Yeah, I feel like this is just going to be tough for you for a bit because you're going to feel like you're stuck in limbo.
For now.
yeah, yeah, and I probably will, but I think Victoria brought up a good point as well, because actually her sister went through quite a few relationships and ended up pretty much settling with someone to have children. And I know they must have had a lot of conversations about that. Her sister is older as well, so I feel like there might be a possibility of her just wanting to have children as one of her main wishes. I don't know, because I feel like going into a relationship and and going for a baby after 6 months is pretty unusual. I don't know, maybe it isn't, but I feel like that's pretty quick.
It is. It is. You certainly don't know somebody at 6 months. Obviously, Coach Victoria and I do a lot of breakups, and we see a lot of breakups around 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that is a good assessment that you really don't know someone at 6 months, and that you're going to be shocked when all of their attachment issues start to come out and they become like a different person.
Right. And this is hard because there's so many people involved at this point. If in this hypothetical case that she did want to try something out with you again, now there's a co-parent. We don't know how involved or not the father would want to be.
Yeah.
We don't know what legal issues might arise from that or not. And so things just become very complex. And so it seems like at the time of the breakup, when you had decided to end things, you were in a certain headspace. Where are you at now? Are you in a place where you would be prepared to be a father, be a stepfather?
um, I feel like if I were to be in the right relationship, I'd be ready to be a dad more than then, because my life is more settled, and I have my job, and everything is more where it should be. A stepdad is quite a different question, though. I I really don't really know. I think it really depends on the circumstances, and how everything plays out. Um, yeah, because mostly I'm not gonna do much. I'm just gonna keep myself protected, and I mean, if anything happens, it's gonna be because she starts to reach out more, and maybe talk about it. But I don't know.
Yeah. So it's kind of like up in the air a bit right now, and it kind of
Yeah.
leaves you stuck feeling, thinking about the situation and wondering about the situation because she hasn't communicated anything like, I'm not happy, or I'm not happy with this new guy, or I really miss us and our relationship, to let you know. But it is odd that she's coming over. We don't know if what the ex or the partner knows,
Mm.
So there's a lot of questions that you don't have the answer to, that it makes you really kind of wonder.
Yeah. And I know we're kind of going into all of these hypotheticals, like what if this relationship were to flourish again? We don't know. She could be super content, with her partner and just experiencing that nostalgia. Maybe there's even a sadness
Yeah.
in, having a child with somebody else when she had imagined it with you. It can be this kind of bittersweet type of moment. So,
Yeah.
maybe there's more that she does want to share with you. Hear what she has to say. If she's reaching out to you, you can open up that conversation. At this point, I wouldn't be scared to ask more of those direct questions, not only because your heart's at stake, but because her children's father's heart is at stake here too. So he might be super invested, thinking that she's kind of cut off all other potentials of interference into that relationship.
Yeah, I mean, we don't even know. This could be a huge bomb for the dad. Wait, what? You went over to your ex's house? You're still talking to him? That's his ring that he gave you?
Yeah.
I mean, it can look pretty bad. You know what I mean? Even if she's not meaning anything behind it, other than, I've always liked this ring that means something to me. And you know what I mean? But it's like, from how it looks, it can look pretty bad if he doesn't know any of this information and all of a sudden he hears all of this. You went over to give him a gate key? What? Why? What?
And in the best case scenario, just throwing something else out there, but it could have been a conversation that they had. She could have said, this is a very significant person in my life. She might have shared with him the story of how the two of you broke up. She might have been devastated at that time, and this is also part of her relationship history that she shared. So we don't know, but it sounds like more conversations, difficult conversations, are to be had with her if, she does continue to reach out.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing. It's only gonna happen if she reaches out, but it's it's maybe gonna be a bit strange and difficult. Yeah.
All right. Well, we covered a lot.
Yeah.
And I feel like at this point, it's kind of like a situation where you need more information to see where this goes. You do your best to kind of let it go and live your life and see if she happens to reach out. She may not. She may be happy with her new relationship and her new baby, and she just wanted to kind of see you a few times before she moved forward. It's hard to know. She isn't really communicating.
Right? And a big part of your breakup was timing. We talk about the importance of timing a lot. And so, you have to think about the timing now. Things have happened. Time is still passing. And so, you have some decisions to make too, just in terms of your life. You might be in a place where you're prepared. She might have lost that opportunity with you just because, of the ultimatum of how things ended and some of the decisions that she made moving forward. So, it's all about the timing.
Okay, well, let's see going forward. And if you want to share an update with us, I'm sure we'd love to hear it, especially if it's juicy.
Yes, I'll definitely let you know.
Okay, well, we appreciate you calling up and talking with us.
Thank you.
And we're here when you want to talk again.
Thank you very much.
All right.